Hi everybody, Vanquished Angel here, and I have not made a video in a little while. I've been working on improving my other videos for a little bit now. But anyway, today's video is going to be on the arguments against gay marriage. And I've researched the internet for the biggest arguments against gay marriage. Now, obviously I'm gay, so this is the angle that I'm going to come at it from. So I have 14 arguments against gay marriage, and I'm going to break each one of them down, and I'm going to address each one of them. And the first one is, it's not natural. The problem with that is it actually is natural. It's actually been documented for decades now, homosexual activity among many animals. Actually, it's found that the majority of animals are actually bisexual. There are several reasons for their bisexuality. Sometimes it's actually a better breeding practice. For instance, in an albatross, females tend to pair up. The reason why is that there's not enough males, and so these females pair up and they help each other raise chicks. Now, there is a slight benefit to that. They do mate with the alpha male. This is the benefit to their lesbian pairing. Because they are not paired to a male, an alpha male can impregnate one or both of them. And those two female albatrosses will raise the young. There are many other animals too that participate in homosexual pairings. Giraffes, most of their sex is homosexual. Over 90% is between two males. There are other animals. Last time I checked, there was like 1,500 animals. I will link to a list of animals that participate in homosexual activity. Also, studies have shown that the siblings of gay people and the siblings of gay animals are more fertile. Nature is natural, and homosexual behavior, tendencies, bisexuality is all over in nature. It's actually very widespread. Marriage is for procreation. That's the second argument. And actually, it's not. I mean, if marriage was just solely for procreation, then barren couples should no longer be married. Women that can't bear children should not be able to get married. Men that are infertile should not be able to get married, period. If it was just based solely for procreation. And actually, all throughout history, marriage has been used for other things. Marriage has been used as a form of peace treaty. Marriage has been used as a form of waging war. Marriage has been used for upping social class and family social statuses. Marriage has been used for business ventures. Marriage has been used for tons of things other than procreation. And then in the animal world, of course, mating or pairings, many animals, of course, use sex for status symbols and bonding. Males bond, and many creatures in nature tend to have sex with each other for bonding. So these unions can have different purposes. Now, the third one is gay people want special rights. So let me break this down. They're saying that we have the right to marry a woman. Why do we need the special right to marry a man if you're a male? Or if you're a woman, you have the right to marry a male like everyone else does. Why do you need the special right to marry a woman? It's not about the right to marry whatever sex. It's about the right to marry who you love and who you're with. And since many heterosexual people have that right to marry who they're attracted to and who they love, gay people do not, or did not up until recently, possess that right. I work for my assets, my investments. I should be able to leave them to my partner without having to jump through 1,000,001 hoops to achieve the same thing. Marriage achieves that. The fourth one is, it's against my religion. First off, I'm going to say this is the reason for the separation of church and state. You have to believe in the First Amendment, and the First Amendment possesses the Establishment Clause, which means and strictly states that when it comes to religion, the U.S. government cannot uphold an establishment or an established religion. In other words, that religion cannot make their beliefs into law. Just because you're Christian doesn't mean your beliefs should be made into law. And that follows other religions as well. So that protects an Islamic person from bringing Sharia law here to America. Oftentimes people will say that God said one man and one woman, but did he? So generally this is referred to in Genesis here. However, God has several different types of marriages in the Bible and several different contingencies, types of marriages in the Bible. The first one is the nuclear marriage. This is the standard, typical one man, one woman marriage that we know of today. However, these marriages weren't always just for love. A lot of times they were for making peace and treaties between kingdoms and stuff. However, for this, the sake of this part here, Genesis 2:24 is one man and one woman until Genesis continues on later. Then it becomes one man, multiple women. And then we have the levirate marriage. This is the one where the brother-in-law marries the widow if the brother has died. And then he's supposed to impregnate the widow afterwards. And according to the Bible, then this would be the seed of not him, but his brother. And these can last anywhere, or take anywhere up to like almost 7 years according to some, and it's still his dead brother's child. The other part about this is that, according to Genesis 38:6-10, which is what's shown up there, God will execute man for not impregnating the widow. However, there is a conflict in Deuteronomy 25:9-10. A man can refuse to marry the widow, and then he gets shamed by losing his shoe and getting spit on. So in this one here that's up on the screen, he can't refuse. But in Deuteronomy, apparently he can refuse. And then in this one, we have a man, several wives and concubines. And in this one, it is Abraham, and he was told to cast out his bondwoman and her son, which is his son. For the son of this bondwoman, she did not want him to be the heir with her son. And the issue is that he did cast her out, but then he had to take her back because God said so. And apparently under this, the Sarah could beat the slave. So basically what happens here is they couldn't conceive a child, so he raped his wife's slave and made her a wife, and then his actual other wife was jealous, so threw her out after beating her or something like that, and then they had to take her back. And then this one is a rapist and his victim. This is no joke. In Deuteronomy, if a man had lied with a girl that is a virgin and she's not betrothed or not married, and he lay hold on her and lie with her, and they're found, which of course means they're caught, then they have to get married. And he has to stay married to her all his days. The thing that this does not cover is that the woman does not get a choice. So basically, if a man rapes her, he has to marry her, but then he gets to continue to rape her. We have a man, a woman, and her property. So this means that if a man marries a woman and she has slaves or whichever, he can marry them. He can have sex with them all he wants to. Go to town. Yeah. So this is apparently a common theme of having sex with slaves throughout the Bible as well. And then a soldier and a female prisoner. So basically, they had to move in and kill all the men and kill all the women and kill all the male children, but they kept the female children alive. And then to do with as you please. So basically right here in this verse is the Bible saying, rape little children, rape little girls, it's okay. And against their will, and keep them. Furthermore, it actually gives description in Deuteronomy what to do with them. And that is 21:11-14. And it says to cut their hair, leave them for a month so that they can grieve, the family you just killed, and then go to them after a month and rape them basically. And if you liked it, you get to keep them around if you want to. But if you didn't like it, you just have to let them free to wither and die, is actually what it says. And you can't sell them because you've had sex with them, and so nobody's going to want them. So you can't prostitute them, and you can't sell them as a slave. And that is in Deuteronomy 21:11-14, also on this. And now we have the polygamous marriage. This is all over in the Bible. However, Lamech here is the first one with the polygamous marriage. Almost many of the men in the Bible all have slaves and wives and multiple wives, and some of them up to 300 concubines in this that they're all sleeping with. So polygamous marriage is widely supported in the Bible. So this is your 7th type of marriage. Again, a lot of these are like packs of raped whores or something from the next village they conquered, or whatever else that they made into slaves or concubines, or that, and wives too. And then a male slave and a female slave. Now this one is even more interesting. So a master can marry, or actually breed, but we'll use the term marry because this is a marriage in the Bible here, a female slave and a male slave. However, male slaves were usually freed after 7 years. So after their servitude, they got freed. However, female slaves that were sold as slaves were not, or sold into slavery, were not set free ever. So after that 7 years, the man had a choice. He either stayed with his family and remain a slave, or he had to leave his family. So not only were they married and have children, but those children belonged to the master as well. So when he became free, the men either stayed to be with their family, or and were slaves, or left. And of course then the marriage was annulled. So this is basically the Bible endorsing divorce here. So those are the 8 outlined marriages within the Bible. Also notice a lot of these marriages, it's not up to the woman. She does not get a choice. Her thoughts on it are apparently not important. And a man can marry several women. However, women are not permitted to marry several men. So there are multiple marriages involving multiple women, wives, slaves, concubines, whatever, what have you. But the women don't get that option. It's all about men, basically. Moving on to another part, redefining religion or marriage as an institution. Marriage has been redefined constantly and over again to fit cultural norms all across the globe. Now, the Bible just defined 8 different types of marriages itself. Even in that part where people quote back to Genesis about creating a woman for a man, it goes on to list more wives later on. So the argument of redefining a religious institution or marriage institution is invalid. It's constantly redefined all the time. Marriage, again, did not used to be for love. Marriage used to be for tons of other purposes. Argument number 7, children need a male and female role model. This has been disproven. Psychological reports from various different agencies, the APA and others, have all released their scientific studies and their findings. There is no psychological impact on the children. Argument number 8, cannot be parents naturally. So therefore their marriage can't be honored because the two coupling cannot be parents naturally. Well, that kind of insists that it's only for procreation, which then again null and voids anybody that can't have children. But this is also saying that adoptive parents are bad and that it's just wrong for the children. But I'm also going to point out animals also oftentimes adopt, especially ones that are homosexually paired. They oftentimes, like penguins will do this. They'll actually go, even male pairings will actually go a lot of times of birds and actually find abandoned nests of eggs and raise them. So these things are actually kind of common in nature. It does happen. Reason number 9, religious people will be discriminated against. This has got to be the most stupidest argument. No, it's stopping religious people from discriminating against others. That's what it's doing. I'm not understanding how, because we don't follow your religious laws, if we don't share your religious beliefs, therefore we're discriminating against you. This is that's a stupid argument. So we're going to move on to number 10. Number 10 is will cause marriage to animals, children, and groups. This is what's known as a logical slippery slope. It's exaggerating the situation. As far as this groups one, I just quoted a lot of verses earlier in this video about the Bible and marriage to concubines and wives and all this other stuff. So therefore, the Bible does support marriage to groups. Sorry, but it does. And children. I read a verse in there where it was talking about taking children as spoils of the war and raping little girls. The Bible does support marriage with children. And this whole part to marriage with animals, that's the exaggeration. That is so stupid. We already had problems with that anyway. People like doing inappropriate things with animals. You can look that up on your own. Argument number 11. Others think it's wrong. That again is stupid. I I can't validate that one. Well, everybody else is doing it. Everybody else says jumping off a bridge is right. Are you going to go jump off a bridge? The logic is just simply not there. Argument number 12. Now, I was kind of waiting to address this one from earlier. Civil unions are good enough. The problem with this is that the logic is they're different but equal. Okay, so it's not called marriage, but it's still equal. The problem is they couldn't get it passed to be equal. People were not treating civil unions as equal. Insurance companies were not treating civil unions as equal. And that kind of became the problem. So if I'm paying my insurance, or I have a company controlling my investments, I have the right to leave that to my husband if I so damn desire. However, the company handling those investments were not always honoring. That was the problem with civil unions. So it created a two-class system, is what it was. Basically, gay people that were married or had civil unions were second class. They did not have all the rights of regular married people. That was a fallacy. And all throughout history, all those different but equal things were never equal. It was just another way of separating. Argument 13. It will make other people be gay. No. Those of you that are watching this are straight. You've been watching me if you made it this far, which probably most conservatives haven't. But if you made it this far, are you starting to feel gay? Did I spread my magic glitter on you? You know, it's not going to make other people be gay. It's going to make other people comfortable with coming out that already are gay. So it'll look like more to you, but actually they were just going having back alley sex, or like preachers molesting little children, you know, or like a lot of conservative politicians going home and grabbing that male prostitute, tapping that male prostitute in a hotel room before he goes home to his wife. No, it's not going to make other people be gay. The 14th and final argument that I have come across to address is states have the right to oppose it. Now, the way our government works is the states are each their own government, and they have a certain amount of rights to declare what over their land the law is going to be. And then the federal government has its rights as well. And sometimes the federal government overrides the state. There's a lot of red tape there. But the Defense of Marriage Act, signed by Bill Clinton, so not even a conservative, a 1996 law passed by Congress and signed into law by President Bill Clinton, that forbids the federal government from recognizing same-sex marriages. The case was confronted the Obama administration and the House of Republicans when the White House said years ago it would no longer defend what it considers a discriminatory bill. DOMA denies same-sex married couples the same taxation and Social Security benefits enjoyed by heterosexual married couples. Now here's the thing. Now the federal law says that gay marriage is legal. However, it didn't always say that. At one time it said no and overrode the states. So conservatives supported the Defense of Marriage Act, okay, vehemently. The federal government could override these states' law, making same-sex marriage illegal in all the states. However, when it came to the federal government legalizing gay marriage, all of a sudden they went the opposite way. Now the state should have their rights and override the federal government. This, of course, is hypocrisy at its best. They're showing there in that statement that they do not support equal rights for people. They didn't care about the states' rights and they didn't care about the federal government's rights. It shows that they only really actually care about their narrative. I should not have to jump through all these different hoops to achieve the same thing. In the end, what I want to do, my argument, this is not one of the arguments that I look up, my argument on all of this is where I want my money to go is where it should go. And if I choose to marry someone, it should be automatic. If I buy a house, it should go to them. If I have a retirement plan, it should go to them. I should not have to jump through 12 more hoops, or 20 some, or 50 some more hoops than your average couple to achieve that. That is my right. Thanks for watching, and I hope you kind of learned a little something from this. I hope you made it all the way through. All right, have a good day. Bye.